This is super boring. Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series where we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 6th episode of the show Power Rangers in Space, as well as the 256th episode overall titled Satellite Search. We begin this episode in space where we see some Velocifighters, one with Elgar in it. He shoots down a neo-saban satellite into a planet. Elgar tells Astronomia he got it, and Astronomia tells him to make sure he got it destroyed because the satellite knows too much. Elgar will investigate. Dekka tells the Rangers that they have an encrypted video message, which Ashley doesn't understand what that is because she's stupid. It's from neo-saban, and they explain that they need the Rangers' help. An exploration satellite has been attacked and it's crashed onto the planet of Kaldur'ahm. They see the last images that they received and it's literally the exact same footage that we just saw. They ask the Rangers to get the data disk so that the 8 years of research aren't wasted. They plead for help because they don't have the spacecraft for this. Cassie is confused as to why the bad guys would want to destroy a satellite, and Ashley assumes that it's Saw Zordon. Remember guys, Zordon? They go to Kaldur'ahm. On the planet, Quantrons are searching for the satellite, and apparently it's like super hot here, while Elgar is relaxing. Astronomia screams at Elgar, telling him to look with the others, and apparently there are lava lakes there. She orders that he finds the damn satellite. She then sees that the Power Rangers are on their way, so they have to find the thing before the Rangers do. She sends out some Velocifighters. Ashley finds the Velocifighters, and now the Power Rangers is frickin' Star Trek. They're getting fired at and reacting while Andros calls for commands like bringing the shields to full power and getting power to the mega lasers. They then just get behind the Velocifighters, blowing some up. This is super boring. I mean, long story short, they blow up two and then one is hard to get a lock on, so they reverse their engines, getting him in front of them, and then they just blow him up too. I'm bored. The Rangers take the tubes down to Kaldur'ahm, taking the Galaxy Gliders. They walk out, now unmorphed, and none of their equipment is working in this heat. Alpha calls them to clearly let them know that there's an active volcano that could erupt at any second, but it's cutting in and out because of the heat, and Cassie is like, communications are down. Did none of you understand that? There's then a big rumble, and they rush to see a giant volcano. Adoy. They say they have to hurry. Elgar then just walks up on the Rangers with the Quantrons, and now it's a Quantron fight on this planet. I'm not gonna lie, I really like this concept. Sure, I mean, it's just a desert with an orange filter over it, but it's something different. The fight isn't bad either besides the background music. I mean, that's been pretty rough. Elgar then says that something sounds hungry, so he's going to leave before it gets there. The Rangers are confused as to what the hell he was referring to, and then they hear a big growl, and Andros says, let's go. Elgar then refers to this monster as the Clawhammer, and he runs into Astronomia, who yells at him to find the satellite before the Rangers do. Elgar agrees, but he's like, petrified. The Rangers are still looking, and TJ is using the sensor. Then it dies, as does their communications to Alpha. How are they going to teleport back onto the ship? Ashley then freaks out, finding big bones. She then finds a part of the satellite, yelling for the others. They run over and Andros says that they're close, so they need to keep looking. Ashley finds the whole freaking satellite, and Carlos points out the keypad. They open it up, getting the data disks, and most of them are pretty damaged. Then everything shakes, so they start running away, but Astronomia is behind them, asking for the disks. Let's rock it! After a long-ass morph sequence, the Rangers fight off a bunch of Quantrons, and some are even taking on Astronomia. That's better than Divatox, who I feel like never actually fought the Rangers. Cassie hits Astronomia's necklace off of her, and she freaks out, getting it, saying no one touches that. They regroup without Andros before they get blown down and taken by the Quantrons. Then Andros yells at her, and he gets blown down too in super slow-mo with the discs in hand. I guess he's like knocked out? Never mind, she gets the discs and he's just talking super slowly. She orders that they get tied up, and Elgar agrees. In the sun, the 5 Rangers are chained up together trying to get free. Kinky. Astronomia says that she could kill them, but she's going to leave them as a present for Clawhammer. The whole place shakes again and she laughs. Elgar has the discs, and Andros is focusing on them with his telekinesis, getting them out of his pocket just as he and Astronomia walk away, teleporting out. TJ screams about how they're about to be food. Remember that one time most of you were a pizza? Then here comes Clawhammer, a giant-ass lobster. Alpha is trying to get in touch with the Rangers, and Dekka suggests that they do a visual search since that's all they got, so they start to do that. Meanwhile, Clawhammer is getting closer, and the Rangers are freaking out. Alpha then sees the Rangers and Clawhammer, and he's like, I can't do anything from up here. Then Alpha says that they have to go down and help them. He initiates Megazord transformation. Okay, like, this is cool and all, but don't they just have giant mega lasers that they just used? They actually formed the Megazord without the Rangers coming down to the planet. The Rangers are super confused, which I would be too, but like, why do they even have to pilot the Megazord then? This raises a lot of questions. Alpha is actually doing pretty well against Clawhammer, avoiding an attack, but then he starts getting hit back a bit, losing the claw hammer. Are the Rangers just like laying there? And the answer is yes. The Megazord then gets hit off of a cliff and it's hanging on by a prayer above a lava lake. This is decently intense. Then Andros concentrates and gets his Astro Blaster, freeing all the Rangers. Feel like he could have done that from the start. Ashley assumes that it's Alpha, which like duh, but they also have to hurry so they run. Clawhammer is about to hit the Megazord, but the Rangers get in and somehow that's all they really needed to get free. Okay. They are now away from the cliff, beating the crap out of Clawhammer. Friendly reminder here, Clawhammer is not a monster from Astronomia. They just rip the antenna off of this random space creature. They then just toss it into the damn lava, blowing it up. Imagine this. They went to Earth and did this to like a random fucking cow. On the Dark Fortress, Astronomia asks for the data discs and Elgar doesn't have them. She freaks out, finding out that he lost them. She says he's going to go play with Scrudley, and it's apparently a monster of some sort. Weird. On the ship, they send the data back to neo-saban, and neo-saban apologizes for it being no use for them. He leaves the screen so the Rangers power down. Imagine he just pops back up. There is one disc that was broken, and Andros says it was probably nothing, and Cassie says, well, maybe it was everything. Jesus, fuck off, Cassie. They then decide to go for a cold vacation on the simu-deck. Then Alpha wonders if they were close to finding Zordon. That's kinda sad. The end. This episode was pretty incredibly boring for like a huge chunk of it. I mean, even the bloopers for this episode are boring. It's just got a whole lot of nothing going on, and even when they're trying to make it cool and interesting, like the space fight, it falls pretty flat. The idea of going to a distant planet and fighting monsters there is pretty cool, and it's one that I like, but the execution is pretty subpar. Also, again, Clawhammer wasn't like a monster of the week. It was just some random space creature that they brutally murdered. Like, I get that it was going to eat them, but after they were freed, they should have just gotten the Astro Megazord and like left. Don't kill it. Next episode, Andros forgets how humans work for like 20 minutes, but until then, may the power protect you.